Hello, everyone. Welcome to an atypical episode of Big Witch Energy. Today, Bree and I are going to be joined by some of our favorite people who also love Motherland. And we're going to talk about what Motherland meant to us, everything and anything about the show, and just, hang out and have fun reminiscing on our favorite show that just ended. So, first up, joining us today is Ange from Ange Chats, who's awesome. And we're very, very excited to talk to them today. And also, our awesome producer, Caitlin, with whom we would be super lost, is also going to join us. So, get ready, guys.
It is our pleasure to have you here. Thank you for coming.
Well, it is my absolute pleasure to be here. So stoked. And so excited. So, yeah, thank you for having me.
R2!
Also, he's here.
And Archie's
Also,
here.
Archie's here.
Hi, Archie. You're adorable.
If you haven't, go subscribe to Ange's YouTube channel.
Yes, please do.
Just saying.
Mhm.
And also joining us, you all know Caitlin already.
Do you? Do you really?
I do,
you
because
really
I
know
translate you.
I've been
You have my
yelling
heart.
at Caitlin this whole time on the podcast. So, if you don't know Caitlin, you haven't been listening. But here's Caitlin.
Correct.
Yeah, seriously. They already asked me for
that's
so
awesome.
much during these episodes.
I'm demanding, man. Surprised you're still here.
Oof.
Archie's going places.
Hold on.
He's like, listen,
Bye,
Motherland
Archie.
talk, goodbye. Got cat
okay.
things to do. You spray with water.
I did, yeah.
I'm catting. Don't disturb Archie while he's catting. So, the series told the story of a canon queer couple who went through a lot of hard times in their relationship. What do you think the impact of this is, Ange?
The impact of it's huge, right? It's incredibly important for the queer community to have representation that is whole, as opposed to just being there's a queer couple, this, or this. Having a queer story that is full, having the moral ambiguity, that grey area that Motherland is so incredible at creating. And also just having the power of love being at the forefront of a story is so huge, right? Because, a lot of people have said that Rayla is sort of the heartbeat of Motherland, and it helps to drive the story forward. And I think it became a sort of, second heartbeat to a lot of the fans. It's like, no, we feel every moment with them. I still remember the first time that I saw that dungeon scene, and like the sheer weight of it and the way that it just made me feel heavy. And then the light that's come from them, the lovely moments that we've seen through, the start of season 1, and then now we've seen more of them in season 3. We've got to see the joy, the grief, the just every turn of emotion from a queer couple on screen, and I've never seen that before. There's something really powerful about that variety and the hope that brings. I think a lot of people obviously lost a lot of hope through the years with various terrible representations that we've had of us on screen. I hate to be the person who says it all the time, but when they killed Lexa, they killed a lot of us, and they killed a lot of hope. And also another problem was that before that, even happened, it was very showing the darkness of queer relationships, and it didn't show any joy. And so the huge, coming back to it in a roundabout way, the huge impact of having a queer couple at the lead in Motherland for the fans, and also for the wider community beyond the Motherland fandom, is that it shows that you're allowed to be joyful as a queer person. You're allowed to be joyful. You're also allowed to be fucking sad. You're allowed to feel everything. So sort of long-winded, but I think that's what I respect the most about Rayla and Motherland as a whole, right? Is that we've got so much variety and so much beauty coming from so many different directions. and a sort of reassurance that you're allowed to be human. You're allowed to feel everything as strongly as you can. It doesn't make you any less. You're allowed to be, if you're a queer person, you're allowed to be fucking happy. Yeah. Anyway.
No, that was
Thank you.
so beautiful. Thank you.
That was
What a
wonderful.
great answer.
You're allowed to be happy, people.
You're
Yeah.
allowed to feel everything.
Like, think of all the times that we've been, as you know, as the queer community and as any underrepresented community, you have to watch yourself go through grief on screen with these characters that look like you, right? Like, and it's just been a way for writers to use the communities, I would say. Like, as opposed to saying, we're going to represent you, we're going to give you something. No, they're saying, no, we're going to take from you. And take and take and take until there's literally nothing left. And it's such a beautiful thing. Sorry, I'll put my water down. It's such a beautiful thing that the community has started to go, no, you're not allowed to take from us anymore without giving something back. Which, yeah, I'm constantly in awe of how Motherland managed to give so much to the community without it turning into fan service. Or appearing as fan service. You know, how sometimes when shows are very much like we're pandering and you can sense it as an audience, you're like, oh, stop it. Like, yes, I want to see it, but you could have done it better. Yeah, so I feel like there were obviously issues with the end of season 3 for Motherland because of how rushed it was. But they, while rushing and trying to get to this endpoint that Elliot wanted to get to for season 3, it was also giving a gift to the fandom in as much way as they could, I think, without being like, this is definitely the end. Here is their happy ending. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Motherland is just very impressive to me in the way they've managed the queer community, not managed the queer community, managed to give so much to the queer community and also other incredible diversity that Motherland presents. Yeah. Anyway.
Amen.
Oof, absolutely.
And to Caitlin.
Hi, Caitlin.
Well, I just want to say first, because you brought up the fan service, I do feel like the wedding was fan service.
Oh, of course, a little bit, absolutely.
Yeah, I think the first 2 seasons, no, but like season 3, there was a little bit there. But I don't have too much to add to that except that I love that it's the main couple, like the main character, because it's always just a side character. It's just a sideline plot, not very well thought out, and it defines who they are. But in this show, it's just there. They're allowed to love whoever they want. And I got distracted.
Just close the doc, Caitlin. Just close it. You don't need to read questions. Bree's interviewing you.
Yeah, don't close the doc.
Then you won't get distracted.
Okay.
I was typing the doc too.
Arranging her notes. We will cut that out.
I've got no other tab open. My ADHD could not handle it. I'm like, nah, I'm here. I'm centered in. There's nothing else happening.
My screen's too big. I can put a lot on there. There's a lot going on. My brain's just like, where am I going?
Here, Caitlin.
Hey, I'm here.
You got this.
Barely.
Good so far. You got it.
Yeah, no, I was looking at this question. I was like, oh my god, I have no idea what I'm going to say. And then everyone else keeps speaking so well. But yeah, all I really have to add is just, I like that it's main. I hope we get more main characters that are queer and like it's just who they are. I mean, personally, I still like the coming out storylines because I'm closer to that, whereas like not as established because like I came out like 3 years ago. It's like I was still technically really new. But I do love that it's just there in this show.
Yeah. Well, like the coming out story is so important still. Like I know it is something that we've seen a lot, but it's an incredibly valid thing for writers to want to explore. It's just the way that they do it in the future has to change from what we've seen in the past, right? We've seen a lot of, very simplified coming out tales through our recent television history. So it'd be nice to see some more complex ones and coming out in different ways and with different reactions and showing the lights and darks of everything that can happen as a queer person in the real world. Yeah, no, I agree, and I agree that it's huge that it's the main couple, and that, as you said, it's just who they are. It's not something that defines them, because the more that we see that, the closer we get to removing the pathologized language that came into being a queer person, thanks to dickheads in the in the 20s or whenever that became a problem. So yeah, removing the pathology of queerness will come when we see everything being more common and more normal and just a part of real life. Yeah. Also, I'm so sorry, guys. I talk a lot. I apologize.
Have
You're
you
so
met
freaking
us?
eloquent. Yeah. Also, have you met us? Please
Because I'm about to go slightly off topic, just to
do
go
it.
off of
Just
that.
do it.
So because
You're in
it's not
charge.
about Motherland, but
Oh dear.
like the coming out storylines. I think we're gonna have an episode about this for Big Gay Energy. I think. Well, we still have to talk about it, but
It's something we need to talk about. But yeah.
yeah, my favorite, as my dog dies down there. My favorite coming out storyline was Alex Danvers. I just feel like that one was done so well, and I mean, it was relatable for me, at least. But anyway, back to Motherland. Continue.
Continue. Okay. So, which character do you most identify with? And why?
So I looked at that question, and there's sort of a couple of options that I could lean into. M is a hugely significant character for me, as a non-binary person, seeing non-binary representation on screen, especially the conversation that we got in season 3 in the Yule episode. That was huge, and really deeply affected me and a lot of the non-binary lovers of Motherland. Seeing a conversation that really eloquently articulated the discomfort of being a non-binary person, being in any way genderqueer or being trans, feeling like no matter what space you're in, no matter who you're with, how close you are with them, you still don't really fit, because of how deeply gendered and deeply binary that the world is. And it just makes so much sense for a show like Motherland, to me, to have a non-binary character in it, because nearly the entire storyline is talking about these, blacks and whites and binary, and the witches versus the Camarilla, this versus this. But at the same time playing with the gray area. And as a non-binary person, I've always felt like no matter what I do, I sit in that gray area. So having M there, sort of flying the flag for non-binary people, and at the same time having S being such a example in the real world, talking about what season 2 could have done better, and then bringing that into season 3. Yeah, I'm hugely grateful for the character of M, because yeah, it was the first time that I've seen somebody who feels like me on the screen, like not looks like, because like non-binary people, as a symptom of being non-binary, is you can look like fucking anything, but seeing the experience there was so warm and just made me feel really at home. The other one that I'm going to be a bit cheeky and choose 2, and I apologize. Um, I have to say what's probably the most common answer, but Scylla in season 1 and sort of carrying through the way that she was very headstrong. She thought she knew exactly what she needed to do, but everything changing when she's met a person, or when she realizes that she was on the wrong team. That transformation, that metamorphosis was huge for me. I experienced some very similar things. I was not a very good person in my youth. I was very mentally ill and had a lot of things going on. But I was sort of made to see the light and made to realize that my voice matters and my words matter, even in the smallest circumstances, that I could choose to be good if I wanted to, and to be just to be better for the people around me and try to do things to make people happy, as opposed to being unnecessary and doing things that aren't needed. And also, like, that little Scylla's got this fun little bit of rage that I unfortunately still very much relate to. That feeling that it's just like bubbling there and you're controlling it constantly. Someone does something little and you're like, I could do something crazy right now, but I just need to settle it down, and just focus on being better for my people. Yeah, so Scylla's metamorphosis and the character of M are probably the two that I hold dearest to my heart. Yeah.
Wonderful. M is definitely huge in the world, not just Motherland as a world, but the world in general. So another wonderful thing that Motherland brought to us. There's just so much you could unpack there, but you did it really well, and I'm going to give it to Caitlin, unless you need to change your battery.
I do.
Yeah. I was going to message you, but I was like, the dock is closed.
We have a chat on here.
Where are we going, Caitlin? I know.
I love this. This is so fun.
Take us on a journey. Yeah, because it could be a disaster.
Take me home to a place where I belong. West Virginia. I don't know the words anymore.
I don't know the words either. Woo! If only Archie could hear. He doesn't care.
I learned that song in Italy.
Why?
What a tidbit. That. Do not derail us, Theora.
Bring up my homeland. Anyway.
I'm Italian.
You too?
Yeah.
We're in Italy. Why have we never had this conversation before?
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno. Oh, buonasera. It's nighttime. Buongiorno to you.
The question is, are we keeping this in?
Yes. Buongiorno.
Okay.
Caitlin, your answer, please.
Do we really expect my answer? I mean, I think we all know what my answer is.
We know your
answer,
right? But we want to hear it from you.
We want your words, Caitlin.
Okay, so, I mean, of course I identify with Tally the most.
What? I don't know you.
Theora's a great actress. I don't know. I think there's a reason why I love her so much, and it's not just because she's adorable, because she is, but, like, she wants to be happy. She likes to be happy. She tries to keep everybody else happy. And although I'm not always happy, it's just because life. But I do try to make situations better, and I try to keep everybody together, and it's very, very difficult. And now more that I'm talking about this, I'm like, I really do try to keep everything together. And it's freaking difficult, man. Ooh, that's another story. But I feel like for both of us, life experiences has caused like that, I guess, light in a way to die a little bit. because as she gains the experiences in the army, you see her become more hardened. I mean, she's still herself, she's still bubbly and happy, but she questions more. Like, she's no longer that oblivious. I mean, I'm still oblivious as well, but there's certain situations, like, because I mean, it was rough. I've gone through some stuff, but it could have been a lot worse. So it changes your perspective on things, but it doesn't really take away the joy you want to spread. Also, I feel like when you, like, for Tally, she's a knower, so I feel like she also feels other people's emotions more. So, like, that's why she wants to keep people. Like, I just think back to the first season when she keeps telling Rael and Abigail, like, let's all just try to take a breath. Like, let's just, we can do this. Let's just talk it out. And also just told me that I was Tally.
See? From the horse's mouth.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And her relationship with her mom, yeah, it was a little rocky in the beginning, but there's like always that rockiness. And then I love that we got to see the closeness of that, them become. I love that we got to see the closest other relationship again in season 3, because that is there. And I feel like they were making Mama Craven out to be like this villain, but she does care so much about her daughter and just wants the best for her. And to have them basically understand each other. I don't know if this is even on topic anymore. I love Tally so much. But yeah, that relationship, it's always been my mom and me. It was her mom and her. I just, yeah, she's me, I'm her, and I love her.
We love her too, and you. And Theora.
Oh, I'm next?
Yeah.
All right. So I also have 2 answers like Ange. The one I identify the most with and feel the most seen by is Isadora. Because, which is probably why I have so many headcanons about her. But also, she's ridiculous and I just love her. But the thing I love most about her and why she basically is me, is because she's super intense about stuff, which if you've ever met me, I'm come off as intense, but I'm very like cerebral about stuff and very like it comes from lots of bullying and trauma where I'm just like quiet and I revert into like wallflower mode where I'm just like super observant and I'm like I'm just gonna observe all this stuff. I will form my own opinion. I will speak when I need to, and what I say is going to be important. Like I keep things to myself and speak when I need to. And Isadora is very much like that. She doesn't just like she's not bubbly like Tally where she says everything that's on her mind. Like Isadora waits, and like when she speaks, it's like always poignant because that's how like introverted people are. They keep everything to themselves. Like I do. I keep things to myself and speak when I need to, and it's always something important. And Isadora is just like very like, she's like happy in her little lab. Like if I had a lab like that, I would never leave the lab. Like I totally get her where she's like, I have everything I need here. Why the hell would I leave? Like my mushrooms are here. Like the people I hang out with and get me are here. What the fuck would I leave this lab? So I totally feel very seen by her. And I think Emily, I wish I could have told her this, but like she did a phenomenal job of like nailing what women in STEM are like, because Isadora is like super analytical all the time. And just like her mannerisms, the way she carries herself, like everything about her is very like a product of somebody who has to spend a decade studying shit and becoming an expert in it. Like that's very Isadora. And the way she's like constantly like, well, her creative side is constantly being used in her like art of necroness, where she's like, well, maybe there's a better way to do this. Maybe I can work with this. Maybe I can create something out of this. And like 3 days later, she has a vaccine for something, which is impossible. Like it's such a like scientist mentality. So yeah. I totally get her. Like I as somebody who's like gone that route in life, like I feel very seen by Isadora. But the character I also identify with on like a personal level from like trauma and like stuff is Nikta. I I get her. Like, I get being pissed off for like 30 years about shit that fucked you up when you were a kid and like never really recovering from it and just reverting into yourself and like not being like the lone wolf kind of thing who doesn't have a lot of friends. Like, that's basically me. Like, I love you guys, but like, man, I don't like connect with a lot of people. Like, people freak me out. And that comes from like trauma in my past and
That's
being
insane
bullied.
because I wouldn't have gotten that.
No, I curate what you see of me. And I've got very good at that from having to interact with people, but interacting with people is not my natural state. A lot of it's very performative, and like Nikta does that. And so I get her. Like, I totally get what Arlen was putting into Nikta because that's a lot of me. And so I get her. And I get her just like chilling in the shadows and being like, I'm just going to be awesome on my own. I don't have to brag. I'm just going to do my own thing. And like, I will hold a 30-year grudge and get you back because the long game is where it's at, bitch. Like, I totally get it. Like, I will play the long game and get you back eventually. So those are my two picks.
I'm seeing a theme where we got our favorite characters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I love that I've known you for quite a while, and now just tonight I know you better.
Thanks,
that
Isadora.
answer.
And Nikta.
Perfect. Bree, what's your answer?
Is it Scylla?
No.
Oh, okay.
Really?
You
I
guys.
was just going with the
Is
theme.
it Callie?
No.
Anyway.
Sorry, also if you didn't want me to ask that, if there was a better plan there. I just
Is
was
it
curious.
Rael?
Is it Rael because she
Yes.
loves Scylla?
No, not because she loves Scylla.
Reading brief of filth. Get it.
Listen, it's Rael because the first time I saw her on screen, the way she was just done with what the world had dealt her. The way she didn't or was trying to deal with her mother's death was... I identified with that because of my father's death and how unresolved that can leave you. If it's like, my dad didn't like leave to go anywhere all the time, but he had an addiction issue that could take him away at times. So having to deal with all of the parent issues and then the parent dying issues is a huge thing for me. But also the way that she interacted with the world at the beginning, she was just thrown into this thing with a certainty that she was going to die eventually, as in the army, etc., etc. And she was a bit of a rebel, and I was quietly a rebel, not so much a loud one. But a lot of times I couldn't help it because I also had undiagnosed ADHD until I was an adult. So you find yourself performing impulsive behaviors and not knowing why. And she wears her heart on her sleeve constantly, and that's me. Like, I will try to hide it, but it's always there, and I kind of hate that about myself sometimes. And I feel like Rael did too. But she also got to see what she could accomplish if she just kind of let herself learn from her environment. And that's what I did with my career that I'm currently in for my day job. I said, I'm going to do this. It's the one time I'm going to actually make myself do this entire program, no matter how painful it is. And it was hell. As the Aura can attest, medical programs will put you through the ringer. Like
So
your
much
clinicals, your
respect for you.
internship, all of that. It's and I was going through a breakup at the time as well, so that was fun. But it put me in a place where at the end of it, I was like, well, fuck, I can do anything now. It's like, Rael, okay, I'm the chosen one. Let's do this.
Yeah.
So that's why I identified with Rael the most, because from the beginning I just felt a kinship with her. Period. The fact that she loves Scylla does, that's amazing, and I love them together, but didn't enter into that equation. So that's it.
Well, thank you for
love
sharing
you.
that.
I love you too.
I love you all. All of you. All your answers are beautiful. Thank you for sharing that and who you are with the characters.
This was our let's share our trauma session.
Yes.
Yeah, and we only got into like little parts of our trauma too, so.
We could have like a whole series on
Okay,
our
we can have group therapy later, guys.
We can, yeah, it's group therapy time later.
We'll invite you back, Ange, for group therapy.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So.
Away from therapy. I guess no,
I'm
still
gonna-
therapy. If we ask the next question.
Well, I don't know. We could, that was kind of like the last question.
Yeah,
So
let's skip it. No more trauma.
We'll skip it. We're going to go to what's your favorite moment on
But
Motherland
I wrote stuff for
and
it.
why?
Oh, fine. Caitlin, just Caitlin only. What character impacted you and why? And you can't say Tally.
I didn't.
Okay.
I said it's not necessarily the characters, but the actors.
Okay.
They have taught me so much, encouraged me, and made me feel like somebody. And I just love the connections that we've gotten to make with everybody we've talked to.
Absolutely.
They truly care. And it's just really nice to see.
Like our group therapy with Liv.
Yeah, oh my god, that really was group therapy.
I know, Anne. Thank you.
No, yes, thank you for adding to that. So what was your favorite moment on Motherland and why, Ange?
I knew that there was a question I didn't read properly. Okay.
Sorry.
No. Look, give me 2 seconds.
All right, Caitlin, you go first.
Oh.
Okay. No. I got it.
Okay.
Okay. So probably a couple. I'll talk about a couple briefly. The Salva scene in season 1. That was the scene that got me into Motherland. I saw it on the timeline, and I had no concept of what the show was. It was the day after the premiere of season 1, and suddenly there was like 2 people posting this one little clip, and I was like, you got me. I found it on.
It's always the gays. They
I
just
know.
reel you in.
I was like, oh, okay. Well, that's quick. Yeah, I found it on Foxtel here and watched it immediately. And yeah, I just was like, yes, this is what I need right now. So that, and then also the Samhain episode. The Camarilla party, that entire sequence is one of my top Motherland moments. Anacostia fighting that Camarilla guy in those heels, in that jumpsuit, I ascended from my body. I was like, this is too much for me. And then Scylla just having no sense of self-preservation, just going, I've got no plan, but I'm gonna protect the kid. That just really, it's just such a huge moment, and I am especially partial to any moments in Motherland that are very particularly mirroring of real life treatment of witches. Because I unfortunately, I studied a lot about the Salem witch trials and witch trials through history, and so seeing, the guys like picking up stones and wanting to attack a small child just because of rumor. It was really like, whoa. And the same thing sort of with Scylla in the school, the moment where he actually threw the stone at her. I was like, it really, like, it such a small moment, but it really deeply affected me, because I was like, oh, okay, that is a direct parallel to the way real human beings were treated and continue to be treated just because of the way perception was and is. So yeah, I any of those moments would be my top ones. Yeah, anything that aligns itself with real witch trials, and then also just Anacostia, just amazing, incredible.
Well, your answer was also amazing and incredible. So we love it, and we love a badass woman in general.
Absolutely.
Yes. So, Caitlin.
Do you know what my favorite scene is?
I assume Tally's in it, but I don't know the scene.
Well, yeah. I mean, Tally's in it.
I don't think I do. I don't think I do.
I mean, we've talked about this one quite a bit recently. I forget why, but I thought about this very briefly, and this scene came to my mind. I was like, that one works. The 201 bed scene.
Oh yeah.
I think it's adorable. I love it so much. It shows like the friend-sister relationship that I love, and it's a relationship like I want so bad, and I now have thanks to Bree and Thee. Because oh god.
Well, that's very cute.
We're gonna see if I can get to this whole episode without crying, even though I'm tearing up right now. But in that scene, they're just so supportive of each other. I mean, they're supportive a lot. There are like some moments where they just butt heads, but in that scene, it's just really adorable. And the line where Tally says, "Alder and I totally felt that," and Rael teases her. I mean, like that was the best. I mean, yeah, but
I love it.
I don't know. I just because I can keep going into that, but then it's my answer is like the same thing for the next question that we have. So I just the relationship. That's the relationship of the unit is what makes that moment so impactful to me.
I'm with you. It's a good scene. It's a very good scene. And now,
I'm gonna cry before the end of this thing. I know it. I can feel like the unstableness in my brain right now. So
just wait. Group therapy is next. So
I don't think you're going to cry during the Would You Rather's, Caitlin. There's nothing to cry.
No,
about.
but I have enough content here that I'm going to cry soon.
Okay. Well, we'll look forward to that.
I'll change your mind with my answer. So I don't have a favorite moment. I have favorite things that happen, like mushrooms burning in frying pans as establishing shots for no reason. I love that. It's never explained. It doesn't impact the plot, but it keeps happening. And it's just why. I love that. Number one. Number two, anytime Nicta is dramatic for no reason. Like being in your own cabin and being hooded from your own minions. What was the point of that? There was no point. It was just her being dramatic. Her sitting on the staircase by herself, surrounded by 500 candles. What was the point of that? There was no point to that. I love things like that because it's just like, it is what it is. Just like look at it and accept it. But my favorite moment, I will have to say, weirdly enough, comes from season 3. Check my fingerprints.
Yes, absolutely.
Wade slapping Silver?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Iconic.
Check my fingerprint. And that line, the way she check my fingerprints.
Shirley Ralph.
Shirley Ralph has my entire heart. She is incredible. Also,
I loved her as Wade. Oh my god.
Also, honorable mention to Isadora's hysterical laugh in
oh my god, yes!
Yes.
And her fight scene. Her fight scene was amazing.
God. Her fight scene. Yes.
It was incredible.
Again, like she's just awesome at everything. I love her so much. But yeah.
Adore.
All the Isadora moments were all great.
Yeah.
It's hard to pick one, but her fight scene. And the mad scientist laugh that made Albin creeped out. I love that woman.
Right? Imagine being able to outlaugh Albin Hurst.
Exactly. That's how good she is at literally everything.
You basically said what we said in the episode earlier when we
Yeah.
filmed it.
It's so true.
It's
But
so
yeah.
true.
Mushrooms,
Yeah.
dramatic gaze, Isadora existing, and Wade slapping Silver.
Yeah.
Best moments.
I love it. That's an
Yeah.
excellent answer.
You can't cry at that.
No.
No.
My answer involves crying partially, but also involves something that Ange said, because the moment that they brought those stones out and were giving them to people in the crowd, that moment hit me really hard. And like Ange said, it's not a huge, but it is huge, because that's people are standing there with stones that they're going to throw at a little girl and beat her to death with until she's dead. That's one of the most brutal ways you could kill someone, and it's a group of adults.
Yeah. And it's for sport as
Grown
well.
ass people. It's, yeah. And they're sitting there like, yes, this little child is different from us in ways that scare us, so we're going to beat her to death with rocks. And it would be such a slow death. And they're going to sit there, hear her screams, and just continue on.
And probably enjoy it because it's, something that they don't like, something they don't understand, leaving this world.
Yes.
Yeah.
To them, it's not a human.
Exactly.
So
they're doing the world a service.
The fact that they brought that back with Scylla was additionally impactful, because not only was it they were going to do it to a little girl and with a group of people, now we had a beloved character who was strung up, the character that rescued the little girl from being stoned to death, who was about to suffer that fate. And thankfully she did not, but when he threw that rock at her, I wanted to jump through that screen and beat the shit out of that dude.
The fact he whiffed the throw was the best thing ever. It just went straight through.
Yes.
But the same thing is for the Rael pressing scene. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. The Rael pressing, because that was
in front of children too.
Yeah, exactly. It's to set this example of we don't understand, we don't want to understand, and in fact, we understand enough that you're scary, you're not important, you're not human, and that we want to see you die. And the rail pressing scene was so awful, and it had me feeling physically sick because I just keep thinking it was real people. And I think only one person died from pressing in Salem.
But and it was a man.
It was a man, yeah. But that one person died a brutal, long death of his bones getting crushed and suffocating because the people of his town were afraid of him. It's horrific. And it's very it's a very common thing, but the burning time's never finished.
Mm-hmm.
The witch trials have only been changing target and changing in terms of the way they've been being done. They haven't finished, and they're still going, and it's the same. Bury Your Gays is another example of a witch hunt, just in the same way that the media did after 9/11 to the Muslim community. And it's just the fact human beings can be that cruel, that cruelty is so ingrained in our DNA and people don't want to fight it often is so upsetting. So yeah, seeing that illustrated in Motherland is huge. Sorry for turning a very very happy little segment into something quite miserable, but
have you met us?
Yeah. And wait, it's gonna get more miserable because I have two as well.
Good.
Here's the other one. In the dungeon. Mm-hmm. Rael and Scylla in the dungeon. That performance by those two actors ripped my entire heart to shreds multiple times. I've watched it so many times, but there's a point at which I had to step away often, and then I would see it again on the timeline, or through whatever. I've watched it many times because of their performance and what they put into it, because I think that needs to be appreciated. But also, it was one of the most obvious and amazingly beautiful displays of love between two people who just wanted to be together and be happy, and because of their circumstances, we're not going to get to do that.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, love is real, love is amazing, and you're also fucked. So
Yeah. It's the
Motherland.
please don't take her, right? That
yes,
that
yes,
tears me
exactly.
shreds.
And Amalia's scream afterwards.
Yeah.
You can tell why Taylor would be in the hallway crying, bawling, and not being able to control it. But
Really.
it's also just the way that they could have played that different ways, but the rawness of it was very impactful. And another thing we don't get to see with queer characters is, yes, it was a very torturous scene and not a happy scene, but it was so important. So,
Well, it's that light
very
and shade.
huge.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
the you're allowed, you're allowed to be happy, but also loving somebody can be the most painful thing that you'll ever do. So
Mhm.
showing that, like, and in such a genuine way, in a way that's really was really gut wrenching, was gigantic. Like, it was something. It's something that you'd never see from queer characters, and hopefully we see more in the future. But that absolute grief pouring out of Scylla is just, and also out of Raelle, even though she's being, she's just, it's huge.
And the fact that Scylla withstood everything they'd thrown at her, including General Sarah Alder, and did not break. And then Anacostia knew the only thing that would break Scylla was Raelle. So, it's like the tortured artist in me loves it so much, but the depression monster in me is like, that's so depressing.
Yeah.
So, it's a twofold thing. All right. I need to detox from that a little bit.
Wait, for happy moments, can we also add the scene? One of probably the biggest scenes really in the show I really want to highlight is also the Yule seed between M and Tally.
Oh, yes,
when M
please!
is like pouring their heart out about their journey to Tally, because not only is it so genuine and warm because it's S and M, but it's like, when do we ever... I know, sorry. Get out of the gutter. But because it's important, because when do we ever get to hear a character like M basically tell their journey? We never get to hear it. It's becoming something that's seeded, like people are becoming more aware of like the non-binary people exist, but like to hear the journey of that character and how like they see the world. Like we actually heard their journey through S's like lens, which we never get. So I think that is probably one of the most important scenes in the whole show,
Absolutely.
culturally speaking.
Yeah.
So I think that deserves a spotlight too, just for
Absolutely.
existing.
Definitely.
So, here's the final question. What does Motherland mean to you?
No, biggest takeaway.
I thought they were too similar.
Well, I got one for that. Okay, go ahead.
What am I answering?
Theora can be the tiebreaker.
Which question did you get, Ange?
I can say something for either, or
What's your
I can
biggest
combine.
takeaway from Motherland?
Perfect. Okay. Motherland has given so many fantastic lessons to the community and anybody who watches the show. Even if you only watch one episode of Motherland, there are lessons through it. So rarely do we get shows that take us out of our world and give us our world in a different wrapping, as well as Motherland does. So, for me, the biggest takeaway is that no matter what's going on, no matter how impossible a situation is, how many obstacles are going up, with a little bit of storm and fury, and by using your power, you can have hope, because there's always a way to get through it, and the ending might not be what you expected. Tally didn't expect for her conversation, or her bringing Older down, to be the doorway for a total revolution, but ultimately it's a good thing. And yeah, I think hope and the knowledge that no matter what obstacles there are, everything's going to be okay. Because sometimes I forget that things do work out. And it's not without hard work and without doing everything you can, but the knowledge that everything will work out and that you will be okay. The only other thing that I would add would be that knowing that there are people who have had your experiences, or experiences very similar, and that you're not alone, because that's something both from the show, but also from the beautiful community that Motherland has created, is that it has given this amazing network of people, who otherwise wouldn't know each other, who wouldn't be able to support each other. I'm incredibly lucky to know so many beautiful faces from this fandom, and also the amazing cast that we've been gifted with. And that connection, that sense of, worldwide connection, like the thing we saw coming over the earth in that finale. It's like the mycelium, right? It's everyone's connected, and we, with each other's support, working as a unit, we'll all be okay ultimately. So yeah, support systems and hope are what I am so grateful that Motherland has gifted me.
I'm gonna weep now.
No crying.
Seriously,
Stop it.
There's no crying in baseball.
No crying in baseball, Bree.
Yes, we will talk about that soon enough.
All right, Caitlin, what's your takeaway?
I was told I'm not allowed to cry, so I'm not going to answer.
No, you're gonna answer.
This isn't a league of their own. You can cry as much as you want on Motherland. Elliot,
I have cried enough on this podcast. Oh my gosh.
So what's the stop you now? Come on.
I've made a whole speech with crying. I realized what you meant by they're similar, because I do have the same answer for the second one. I'm sorry. I understand now. But the biggest takeaway I have is that there is nothing more beautiful than found family. Because the unit found each other, and everyone found each other. Because everyone became a family in the end. You do when you go through so much crap. It's kind of hard not to become a family. And then Jess has said that she has found family with everybody that she's worked with. And I found you guys. And I'm a broken record with this, and I know. But have you ever had an emotion that you felt so deeply and you just can't express it well enough? And like I literally say to Brie and Theora that I love them 15 times a day at least. But it's just because like I can't articulate how much they mean to me because because they make me so comfortable. Like last Friday when we were filming our episode 9 review, I was having a little bit of a rough day, and as soon as Theora got on, I guess I felt comfortable enough, and I just felt everything. And I ended up having 2 panic attacks. And not everybody can handle that. And Brie and Theora just been there for me. I don't know if I'm gonna get through it. I didn't expect to cry this much. Hold on.
We've been very tired this week, so it makes sense.
It's okay, Caitlin. You take as much time as you want. That's what editing's for.
Exactly.
Do whatever you want. You're in charge, remember.
You just made her cry more, Theora.
Damn it. Tally's pretty and
Tally's dimple.
Tally's hugs.
No, I know. It's just
Great.
Brie.
I wanted you to laugh.
Hold on. You guys mean everything to me.
We love you, Caitlin.
Yes, we do.
We do.
You're literally the best part of my days.
Same.
I'm just really lucky and glad to have you.
Well, we're lucky and glad to have you.
Listen.
For a multitude of reasons.
Yeah, literally. You're the heart, Caitlin.
You're the Tally. You're our Tally.
You're the Tally. You are. You know what? You're our Tally. To steal a line from Tally. You're not our witch. You're our Tally.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And Ange, too. You can claim her as your Tally if you want to. No pressure.
Absolutely.
You can think on it.
It's so beautiful. Like, I know you guys are probably going to cut all this out, but it is so beautiful to see the amount of trust that you've all got in each other. Like, this is what Motherland has done, you know? It's given people families that otherwise they never could have. You know, either they didn't have access, they didn't have the emotional ability or flexibility to be able to form connections. But through these beautiful communities that have come from Motherland, we've all found each other. Like, you know, I tell Brie that I love her about 100 times a day because, you know, I just feel I'm constantly so grateful for the community and for everything that Motherland's brought with it. You know, Caitlin, what you were saying about having an emotion so big and you don't know how to get it out properly. I have that constantly, but the only way that I've worked out to express it is just gratitude, because I'm constantly so grateful for the people and everything that Motherland has given, and for, you know, the completely unnecessary support that, you know, people offer me. It's overwhelming a lot of the time because I'm like, no, this is not. I don't deserve it. You know, I want to give things to you, and, you know, people are so generous to give lovely support back to me. I don't get it. But yeah, the community that Motherland brings and the amount of trust that the community has in each other, and has for the cast and everyone within it. It's just so beautiful. And hasn't really been a thing that I've experienced before. So yeah, I completely understand that emotion, Caitlin. I get it, and I agree. It's huge.
I've just never found two people who I've worked so well with. And like it's insane how well we work together. Cause everyone puts in the work and that's and our dynamic on camera, off camera. I haven't done well with making friends growing up. I've moved so many times and I've had friends just completely ghost me, and just knowing that you two are there for me no matter what, and that I can just always come to you. It's literally everything to me. And I just wish we lived closer. Because I just love you so much.
That's the beauty and the also not beauty of this is because we met through Motherland, we're literally scattered across the country / world. So
Literally.
there's no way for us to like it's as much as wonderful as it is that we never would have met. It would be nice to be able to see each other in person often. So there's that little hiccup in the whole thing, but definitely worth the pain of not being able to hang out in person.
It's okay
often,
when flight prices come down. You just we can
Yeah.
just get all over the place. It's,
Also,
Yeah,
I'd like to say that you do deserve it, Ange. So
Yeah.
This is not about me. Stop it.
No,
Turn it
you
around.
do
We're focusing on
deserve
Caitlin.
it.
Listen to us. It's our podcast. Take the compliment.
Well, thank you. That's very nice of
Own
you.
your
Well done.
awesomeness.
Hey guys,
Yeah.
did I mention that I love you?
No.
I love you too,
Haven't heard that.
Caitlin.
I love you more. I'll fight
That
you.
was so cute.
Out of love.
Out
Fists
of
of
love.
love.
I saw you working I've seen you working in person, and I agree that there are few people in the world that I work this well with, period, end of sentence. Okay, there's not really anyone, but
Sorry, you just brought that up and it made me cry more because I couldn't do anything
Don't talk about
without you.
I'm sorry! Now I'm making it worse. What do we say?
We love Caitlin, but we hurt Caitlin. We're so sorry, Caitlin.
It's a
Is it
beautiful
shiny?
Kelly's hair.
I'm just so grateful for you.
Well, we're grateful for you
Grateful
too.
for you too.
We're just
Okay.
jaded
Medical professionals.
medical professionals who can't
Without
show
feelings.
emotion.
Yeah. And little black lesbian hearts. That's what
Yeah.
happens when your gays have all been married, you see.
Yeah.
Your heart trembles.
And your family never hugged you. Well,
That
for
too.
me, anyway.
I don't come from huggers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
I think that covers the what's your favorite moment on Motherland, or that.
Your
I think that
takeaway.
covers the last question,
Yes,
and we
it
don't need to
does.
ask the other one
Caitlin,
because
do you want a
they're
glass of
similar.
water or something, love? Are you okay?
She's frozen. No, she's not.
I
She's
think
No,
just
she's not.
She's
Do you
crying.
know
yeah.
Caitlin?
Please don't pull a Taylor and dehydrate yourself to the point where. Please drink water. Hydrate for lesbian Jesus.
I know you have a water bottle. I saw it.
We see it all the time.
It's
Yeah.
It was
my
our
two
faces.
best buddies.
No,
were
she's
always
crying
with
at Theodore. Why?
Yeah, don't cry at me. Cry at Bree. I'm just kidding.
I'm fine.
I'm sorry, Caitlin. I didn't think you'd make
I
me
feel
cry this much.
stupid.
I'm sorry we're
You're
so
not
awesome,
stupid.
Caitlin.
You're not.
You're not stupid at all. Feeling
No.
emotions is not stupid.
No.
We just can't do it.
No, it's like you said, like emotions so big. They leak out one way or another.
I think it's
right?
beautiful that your emotions are so present.
Yes.
And it is very tally.
Yeah. You're very empathetic.
Yes, you have the mostest of empathies.
Yeah. And that's hard, like you said, like, because you not only have your own emotions that are really big to feel, you feel other people's big emotions. So, like, us being emotional, like, leaches into you, which has to be super overwhelming and, like, compound all the emotions you're already feeling on your own. So, that's a big weight to carry.
And add the ADHD. So, with our intense emotions, one way or the other.
So it's okay. It is okay.
I think
We're
we
not
have
stupid.
10 minutes of footage of me just crying.
We will cut that out. It's fine. Or leave
No, it's
it.
okay. I don't really care.
You tell us.
I mean, because like my whole thing is to be real. I always try to be as open as possible.
You are.
It's another reason we love you.
No, it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing.
No, it's not at all a bad thing.
Not at all.
It's not like you are inappropriate with it. You are very appropriate with it.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Another reason we love you.
Yes. Exactly.
All right, so we don't cry anymore.
Yes.
You don't know that.
Okay, if you're gonna cry at any of these questions, we'll talk later.
All right.
Okay.
So
I've got a lot of issues, guys.
So do we.
I don't know what was in
there.
there.
Coming, and Caitlin forgot.
I don't know what was in the thingy. I don't know. There was something that was chunky.
I hate that word in reference to liquids.
Chunky liquid.
Yes, that's not what liquid should be.
Oh, my dogs. Oh, okay. So I'm sorry. Before we do this, my little dog is basically my emotional support animal, so she's just keeping an eye on me right now.
Aww.
To make sure she doesn't have to come over, and she's like, oh, okay, they got her, and she just went back to sleep. So,
rest, little one.
I just wanted to share that.
It's amazing.
All right.
So these are the would you rathers.
Yes.
Number 1, would you rather get smashed by a truck or windstruck by Albin?
Windstruck by Albin. Windstruck by Albin. Like, being windstruck looks fun. I would love to get thrown through the air a little bit. That'd be hilarious.
I want to do a ratchet. It's called a ratchet when you get thrown back.
Yeah.
Oh.
Absolutely.
Like the stunt move, you mean?
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
I've learned some stuff.
So I'm guessing Caitlin is going with windstruck by Albin.
Well, I mean, we could get really dark and be like, depending on the day.
Okay, fair enough.
Depending on the minute.
Depends on
you know what, girl? Actually, my answer is your answer. So, depending on the moment, just...
Right now, we'll do the windstruck because he's not that powerful and he can't do too much damage.
Exactly.
True.
Okay.
Just a little sail. Just wee.
All right. I'm also going to piggyback off the answer from the last discussion, which someone brought up the fact that if Albin's going to do something like that, he's going to mansplain a bunch of shit to you first, and I don't want to hear that. So I picked the truck. Don't. Just end it. I don't want to hear any of this. Just, it's worse.
You're not wrong.
The truck.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Would you rather be on a road trip with Rael or Nikta at the wheel?
Listen.
I have a lot of issues with this one.
Listen.
That's why we're asking. We're asking the hard question here.
We have more trauma in this question, but you guys didn't know that.
I think that Nikta would be particularly like sneaky with the planning, like wouldn't really tell us exactly where we were going, wouldn't give any, just like get in the car and be like, okay. With Rail, there might be more room for conversation about it. But I also think that Nikta would have a fucking sick taste in music. So I would be willing to like give up the hope that I'm not going to get murdered to listen to some absolute bangers while we're going. You know what I mean? So I think I'd go Nikta.
All right.
I also think Nikta's probably a better driver. I don't know why, but Rail gives me like can't drive energy.
And that's why my answer is Nikta, because we talked about it at the con and everyone on the cast said that Rael would crash the bus.
Cool.
Caitlin.
So I would probably take over. I mean, I know this wasn't part of the question, but like I would have to drive because I have a lot of anxiety in cars and I have post-traumatic stress disorder because of car accidents, so I don't let people drive. I like to have control. But I feel like to choose as my passenger, I would probably choose Rael because I don't think Nikta would be happy with me singing every song, and I feel like Rael and I would just sing along to everything.
I feel like Nikta wouldn't be a good passenger at all.
No,
I think
not
Nikta
at
would
all.
be a terrible passenger.
Rael, on the other hand, would just go along.
Just be like,
Mm-hmm.
vibing.
Exactly.
I mean, do you see the? I feel like Rael would turn into Taylor a little bit in the cars, and like, do you see Tiernan's videos with her in the car?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay,
would you rather?
I didn't answer.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's because you went out of order.
Did I just get fired?
Oh my god.
Whoa.
My everlasting apologies, Theora.
Everlasting love.
And that too. So, what is your answer,
Who would I
Theora?
rather drive the car on a road trip? Do you have to ask me this question?
No.
Nikta.
Maybe that's why I forgot to let you answer. It's because I knew the answer.
Because Nikta's hot, and I'd rather be trapped in a car with Nikta. And also the music, like Ange said, Nikta's also been around the world, so she knows where she's going. And I have a terrible sense of direction. I don't even know where I live now. Like my wife is always like, "No, we go." I'm like, "Where are we going?" She's like, "We've been there like 10 times. We have to go this way." So I need Nikta who knows where she's going because I don't know, and there's no GPS yet.
I looked up your address. I could probably tell you where to go.
You probably could, but I can't tell you because I don't know anything. I have terrible sense of direction. So I need Nikta driving the car. Also, I hate driving. So Nikta driving.
I hate driving, but
Hate it.
I got way too many issues. I have to do it.
I understand. And America's you're mostly forced to. But I live in a walkable city where I don't have to. And it's wonderful. But Nikta is the answer because she's fun.
Yeah.
I would go crazy if I was trapped with Rael, honestly.
Do you think I've given our audience enough information about me?
I think
No.
we've all overshared.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
My nickname is literally Overshare. Like Overshare America. America is a whole different story. We'll get there one day.
One day. Not on this podcast. Maybe another one.
No, it doesn't make sense. And maybe in Praneet's interview, because I have a feeling it might come up. But
there you go, guys.
All right. Well,
Ange is just like,
Sorry, Ange.
What? Don't apologize. I'm vibing. I'm just chilling. I love it.
would you rather go through basic with Anacostia or learn off-canon work from Major Verger?
I thought the other option was to learn stuff from Isadora. Okay.
Damn.
Out of those two, no, Major Verger scares the shit out of me. She's terrifying. I think I'd rather have Mama Kostya yelling at me for doing the wrong thing constantly. Because that's how it would go. So be like, where are you meant to be? I'd be like, no one told me. I know that you probably did 5 minutes ago. I've not got a clue. So yes, I think I would go with Anacostia and basic. Also because, little fun fact about me, I used to be an athlete. So I feel as though the physical parts of basic wouldn't be so much of an issue. I think I'd do the obstacle course parts quite well. Just anything that relied on me being somewhere on time. No, absolutely not.
What sport?
Theora was also an athlete.
What sport? I need to know.
I was a soccer player.
Hell yeah. That was my second sport. Love
Nice.
soccer.
What did you
What
play?
position did you play?
I was a goalkeeper.
Oh, hell yeah. I love goalies. I was a right defensive wing. Soccer.
Nice. Awesome. What was your main sport?
My main sport was lacrosse.
Oh,
But
cool.
I played
We don't play
everywhere.
that here.
Literally every position.
Yeah, we don't play lacrosse here, so I don't know heaps about it, but it looks awesome.
Actually, you guys have back at the time when I was growing up, this is totally off topic. You guys had an amazing player from Sydney named Amy Apel. No, Abby Wambach? No. Anyway, you guys have awesome players from Australia that play on your national team, but it's not super huge there.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. Cool. No, I'll have a look at
Mhm.
it. Yeah, I've always thought it looks like the coolest sport, but yeah, just
It's so fun.
it's not big here.
I got a random anecdote. You know what
Anecdote.
I mean. Anecdote. Yeah, that. I played soccer for like 2 months in elementary school,
Nice.
and I got in trouble for holding a girl's hand.
Kayla's the best reason to get in trouble playing soccer.
That's really
I love
good.
it.
I just
That's
wanted
really
to
funny.
hold her hand. I didn't know why. But like we were holding hand during practice,
Aw.
and they're like, "This is not the time to hold hands." I'm like,
so cute.
"But I love her."
I just exactly.
Very
So
cute. That's really cute.
Sorry.
If you couldn't get cuter.
I know.
Tally.
That's adorable. That's very tally.
Uh,
All right, Caitlin. Anacostia with basics or
Okay,
major
I
versions?
have some dilemmas and follow-up questions for this one as well. Is basic during winter or summer?
we'll say it's during summer.
Sure. In
Okay, then
Massachusetts.
definitely hell no.
Okay.
But I don't think I could make it through basic in general. Like I keep seeing like job postings for videographers for like the army and stuff, and I'm like, that seems so interesting, but I could never get through basic.
Yeah.
I can't run. I tried out for field hockey because I did it in for gym one time, and I hit people with a stick, and no one knew it was me. So that's why it's literally why I tried out for a field hockey, and I couldn't make it past the second day because they made us run. And
Bye, Caitlin.
hi, bye, bye, hi. And I was the slowest, and I felt so stupid and so down on myself that I couldn't run. So I stopped doing that. So I guess also the dollhouse, I believe it's air conditioned. So you know what, like, and I would like to learn stuff that I'm not supposed to do because let's be real, I would definitely use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
As long as it couldn't be traced to me.
Fun facts about me. We've learned this thing about Caitlin. Alrighty then. I also was an athlete, softball and tennis. I played tennis in university because we do that here in the United States of America. And I also was in ROTC, so I was on track to be basically what would amount to in the Motherland world as an officer candidate. So I have done the Army thing. I grew up on an Army base. And I would definitely pick Major Verger because I am done with that shit.
Fair. Very fair.
I do not want anyone yelling at me anymore for not running fast enough, jumping up high enough, or in general just being a awful. If you yell at me, all of my concentration leaves, and I then do worse because you are overstimulating me at that point, and my system says no. So the last time that I had to actually run a mile in a certain time period and Major Straw was screaming at me from behind me, also running, that was it. No more, never again.
I had someone like keep on me, and I'm not really yelling, but like really getting frustrated with me during dance that I had a breakdown because they're like, we're not leaving until you can get this, and I'm like, I'm literally the only person who can't do it.
That's
but,
just
yeah,
a
that's the
bad
only
coach,
athletic
though.
part about me.
Like that makes me so upset. Like, so my day job is that I am a sports administrator and I coach children. So I coach anywhere from kids who are 10 to 18. Mainly soccer, but in lots of different sports. And the idea of any one of my coaches yelling at a kid makes me furious. They would be fired on sight. Like it's like, unless it was being positive and like, hey, this is constructive criticism that will make you improve, there is no chance any of us would raise their voices at a kid. Like that's the way that you destroy kids ever wanting to do sport. It's the way you destroy love for being outside by tearing kids down for doing nothing. It makes me furious. And like I've got I've got several different qualifications in coaching and doing things for little kids to make sure that they just want to go outside and just want to play and just want to be in a team. That's all that matters. So having a dance teacher who is yelling at you for not being able to do something, that person should have been fired. How dare they? Absolutely not. That's unacceptable.
I have
It's also not
about that along those lines, about coaches doing that. So
okay,
I played.
I'll talk afterwards.
I played like so the first sport I really got into. Well, I grew up playing sports. Like I was literally, my first word was ball because I learned to play baseball before anything else in my life. But when I was older, young teenager, I got into soccer because at some point baseball gets misogynistic and women are only allowed to play softball, and I hated that. As a young little feminist, I was like, fuck this. So I started playing soccer. And when I was 13 years old, I got on the travel team because that's how you like get up the ranks to get into like university and stuff. So I had a travel coach when I was 13. And I hated this guy because he did exactly what you were describing, Ange. And I remember my parents were like, no, you got to give your coach a Christmas present. And I was like, fuck, I felt like he didn't deserve it because he was an egomaniac asshole, but he was like really good at getting teams to be good. So like all the competitive parents were like, no, he's got to teach our 13-year-old daughters how to play soccer so they can be in the Olympics or whatever. But this guy was a dick. And so I remember after practice going to give him the gift, and I pulled him aside and I was like, hey, I couldn't get a word out. And he, I guess, thought I was coming to ask him for advice or some shit. And he tore me apart and was basically telling me like, I'm not good enough to be on this team. And when it was over, I was like, Merry Christmas, and gave him the gift. And he was like, oh. I was like, thanks. But I made the high school varsity team, so fuck you, bitch.
Yeah, see, it's
Say
not
his
even
name.
just...
Call that dick out.
Yeah, so
No.
I pick basic training because I respond to that. If you're telling me I can't do something, I'm like, yeah, watch me. I'm going to prove you wrong.
There we go.
It's not just about the yelling either. It's like even just talking, but like the emotional abuse that happens in like all of these things. Because like I didn't do sports really, because obviously we know that I suck at it, but I did a lot of in the arts, like that happens so much.
Yeah.
And my choir teacher, I had to get taken out. I had to get literally a doctor's note to get me pulled out of the class because he would tell us that monkeys could do it better than us. He was just like so harsh with us. And fun fact, he was actually Pink's choir teacher as well. He's in jail now. Yeah. So
good.
Right. I'm so sorry that happened. That's horrific.
Yeah. It's rough in the arts as well. Yeah, it's just
absolutely.
People are awful, which is a theme.
People are dicks all over.
People are awful, and gaslighting's a real thing.
Yep.
Yes, it is.
Well, we really get off. I'm sorry.
I mean,
which would I join?
But either option in this question is gaslighting of some form, because like in basic, they like verbally abuse you into the ground, versus like Verger's gonna mentally
psychological
abuse with her magic. So either way,
I can handle that better.
That's what I mean. So is it physical abuse or mental abuse?
To be honest, I think I would be mentally in a bad place with either one.
Yeah, they're both terrible options. Isadora would have been a better option.
Let me be an Isadora.
But
no, the would you rather is supposed to be like there is no good option. But if there was Isadora, we would all pick that because Isadora's freaking awesome.
And if she abuses you, it's fine. It's in the name of science. She has reasons. Exactly. She has actual reasons. I'm going to talk down to a child.
Vacuum chamber anytime. I'll do that willingly.
Oh,
do you want to teach me how to do curry? That's fine. Let's do it.
Absolutely.
Magic mushroom.
But did you see how she was with Penelope though? Like she is so nurturing as well. Like
she's a teacher.
I love that we got to see that.
Yeah.
I love this section is supposed to be really quick. I love how like we all have to have like super long explanations.
Get your feels out. Okay, this is the end of Motherland. Get your feels out now. It doesn't matter. People are gonna listen. I hope. If you're still listening, we love you out there.
Do you make if you've gotten past the me crying my eyes out part and didn't just like turn it off, thank you.
Thank you. From all of us to you.
Or you just skipped ahead, which I wouldn't blame you either.
Bree, next question.
All right.
forgot where we are.
Well, treading on dangerous ground here. Would you rather spend a day in the dollhouse or spend a day locked in the high security cell with President Silver?
I want the day in the high security cell with President Silver because that boy would not come out of there alive. I
Yes,
guarantee you
that's the
that.
energy I want.
I'm a triple fire sign. There's no chance he's coming out of there unscathed. It will be absolutely gloves on, jukes up the second I'm through those doors, and nobody would tell me to not.
No.
If a
Those
guard
cameras
looked at
don't
me the
lie.
wrong way, I'd be like, "You're next, bud. Not a chance. Hop out of here." Like it's nah, absolutely. I don't want to. Yes. Anyway, I'm not a violent person. I'm actually don't like fighting, but for that guy, not a chance.
My answer is I am the one holding him for Ange.
Yes.
Caitlin.
I'm trying to decide if I want to explain why.
You have to.
Once I start it, you're gonna be like, why the hell did your brain go there?
We know you by now. It's fine.
Yeah.
Alright, the audience is about to really get to know me, and I don't think it's gonna be a surprise at this point.
Buckle up, guys.
So, about... What is it, October? No, it's not October, it's August.
We didn't time jump in this podcast yet.
Talking for so long,
Okay.
it's suddenly October.
So,
Ange is the only one in the future.
I don't know how exactly this relates. I mean, I did in my head and then I lost it, so I'm gonna connect it as I start talking. So about a year ago, I was in the hospital for a week. And, like, not the physical hospital. The mental hospital.
Oh, a grippy sock holiday.
Yeah, grippy sock holiday.
And it I kept relating it to prison. And then there was one guy who did get isolated, and oh my god, okay, that's a whole nother story. Anyway, I feel like I could make it, and I just feel like that would be better because I would just annoy Silver again by singing. Okay, so I'm pretty sure I annoyed everybody in the hospital because at 6 a.m. I would wake up, and then if someone joined me, I would start singing. So I think one morning I did wake everybody up by singing. But are you really surprised by that?
No.
But it was a lot of fun, I'm just saying. So I feel like that could be fun, and I would just annoy him.
That's lovely. Annoying the shit out of Silver would be. I would pay to see that. Just sing at him constantly.
Because I would just be sitting in the corner, like, doing something, making some noise, just being myself. And I know I have a pretty annoying personality, so...
No, you don't.
Yeah.
For Silver, maybe.
For Silver, yeah, maybe. But
Yes, he's a dick.
He is
yeah.
a dick. I respect all your answers.
So,
A
you're
spineless
welcome for getting to know even more of my oversharing stories.
I love it.
I'm going to pick the dollhouse because I don't want to be trapped in a jail cell with that guy for any amount of time ever. Because then he'll talk. I don't want to hear that. I'd rather be in the dollhouse hallucinating than being with that dude. I respect your acts of violence against him. I'll be in the dollhouse chilling.
Or you could just be in the cell with us after we've taken him out.
After he is incapacitated.
Yeah,
as long as he's not relate.
Yes, perfect.
Both things relate to my story. I just feel like the mental thing of the dollhouse would just get to me more.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I think we understand that now because of my story.
It's a lot.
I feel like I have to establish, I promise I'm not insane. I don't want to say crazy because that is a bad word to use. I will go off. I will go off. That's a mental health and homelessness. Two things that I will not shut up about. So continue.
All right. Would you rather have Tally's sight, Rael's fixer work, or Abigail's weather work?
Probably Rael's fixer work. Because like I said, I work with kids. And there's nothing worse than when a kid hurts themselves and they can't be consoled. Like that absolutely destroys me every time it happened. I had a girl tear her ACL a couple of months ago, and her scream was something that will just live in my head. So being able to take the pain away from my students in those situations would be the biggest thing. Also, like, imagine just being able to go, I can fix you. Like, there's something wrong with you. I don't care if I take it on myself. I will fix you, and I'm going to give you a better chance. That's that's very much a part of who I am as a person. I like to give as much as I can to other people. So I think that would probably be what would suit me most. Like I said, I'm a triple fire sign, so like it would make sense for me to choose the blaster stuff, but like I'm closer to the ground. And I've known a lot of people who've been through a lot of pain, me included. And it would have been a wonderful thing to be able to help take any of that pain away. So yeah. Anyway, that's probably it.
Excellent answer, and shows your lovely character.
Stop it, Brie.
Never.
I love you. You're very nice. Anyways.
I just love how everybody, and everybody we're really close to as well, are so open and like saying I love you, because I forget that not everybody can say that to people, but everybody like we have brought into, like, we're all close to, we all just say I love you so much, and I love that you also are so open with that.
Oh, of course. We've only got a finite amount of time on this earth. Why would we let anybody live in doubt about our feelings? You know, like if I've got a connection with somebody, they're gonna know it. Also, I think for me, being so far away from a lot of, like, of course you guys are far away from each other, but there's a bit more of a divide, time zones and everything. So having the opportunity to just say, remember that I love you, remember that you have a piece of my heart, you're living here, because once you're there, you're not leaving for nearly any reason. You're a part of me. So if I've got a connection with somebody, you'll know it. And all of you guys are wonderful. No, you're all finding a way into my heart. So yeah, I have to talk more. With all of you. I annoy Brie all day. I can start annoying both of you now.
Annoying my ass. It's a pleasure. And don't worry, if you will soon, like, if you give Caitlin the location to your heart, she'll find it on Google Maps.
Caitlin will find you. Caitlin is your qualified as a detective, everybody.
I'm good at my job.
She's very good.
Listen,
she is very good.
I'm obsessed with that. I will say the scariest thing that I've ever had, this is completely disconnected. The scariest thing I've ever had happen to me was after I released my Taylor interview, because that got a lot of views very, very quickly, which was lovely, wonderful, except for the fact that I started getting a lot of DMs. And one of them was that because I do an acknowledgement of country at the start of all my interviews. Someone had Googled the land that I was on and worked out what suburb I was in. And I was like, hey, maybe don't, guys.
Oh dear.
That is terrifying. And it was amongst reading like a couple of very, very toxic ones. So it immediately made me go,
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Like half a second I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do an acknowledgement of country, or maybe I should reword it. And then I was like, nah, if anyone wants to try that hard to find me, good job. Like, honestly, pop off. That's fine.
I'm trying. Okay. No, we're not going to go there.
Caitlin, you're not doing it. Don't do it, Caitlin.
Honestly,
I'm not
I
doing
know you, so that would be fine for you to do it. Honestly, you send me a DM. I will tell you where I live.
That's not what I was thinking of. This thing that was going on in my head, my story. I'm not going to go there though, because we've done enough oversharing for one day.
So what power do you want, Caitlin?
Okay, we're about to overshare more.
Yes.
So I mean, my first instinct is to go with Tally, but because I love her, but it can't always be Tally, and I don't think it would be the site because it is a burden to know what's going to happen, and to like, especially if you can't change things, that would suck. And okay, no, I'm trying to figure out how much I want to share and how much I shouldn't. I would want Rael's fixer ability too. I think that one's the most useful. My mom lives in constant pain every day. When I was in 6th grade, she almost died. And to just be able to take that away from her so she could live life, and like that woman, she works, uh she works like 3 jobs at times. Like, she can go all day. She'll go out. I can barely like wake up some days. And it just blows my mind how she's in all this pain and still has such a life. And if I could just take away all the parts that like ail her each day so she could do more and be happier, I wish I could do that.
That's a very noble answer and would be amazing if you could. Absolutely. So
That woman is stubborn. She just got surgery on Tuesday and she just worked yesterday.
That my dad's the same way. He has
She can hear me, by the way.
Oh, cool. Yeah, my dad has a it's like disintegrated disc in his lower back.
Yeah.
So he's like constantly in agony, and he works like manual labor every day, and he has since he was 16. And like really like he's I guess Americans call them like contractors, but he works in like garage doors, so like those big roller doors and stuff. Like he will literally, and he works alone. He doesn't have anyone who works with him, so he'll put those up on his own, which is just insanity. But yeah, and you know he's the most stubborn man alive. I'm like, go get any pain management. He's like, nah. It's a big thing in Australia. It's like, she'll be right. It's like, nah, she'll be right. It's fine. You know, it's just pain. But yeah, so I know what you mean, Caitlin, a very, very deep level, and so I'm sorry that your mum deals with that. Yeah.
You never would know though, because she doesn't show it.
Yeah, same for my dad.
Yeah.
Theora?
So I'm a fixer in real life, so I don't want to be a fixer magically. I don't do
Valid.
enough medicine. I would pick the blaster work, but here's what I would do with it. I would love to be able to just manipulate the weather and be like, well, there's a hurricane, so I can't come into work today. And like, I live in San Francisco where there's perpetual fog, so I'd be like,
Yeah.
I'm off today. I want the sun.
Carl.
So I move Carl away. We have our fog is famous and has its own Twitter account. It's called Carl the Fog.
That's
You
hilarious.
can find him on Twitter.
With a K.
With a K. With a K. He's a real thing. And so Carl loves to come in and like he was hanging out today. I would be like, I want the sun, and like push Carl away. So like it would be nice for me to just like live my life and like be like, the plants are dying, I need some rain. So I'd like to be able to manipulate weather. That'd be pretty sweet.
I love
For
that.
good reasons and devious reasons, you know.
You guys' answers were so deep, and she just wants to play hooky from work.
I agree.
Job is literal life and death. I don't want that magical ability.
I agree. I think that's great.
No, I'm with you. Well, my answer is I need Tally's sight because I'm a spoiler whore and I need to know everything.
That's true.
I want to know
Yeah.
if I can't emotionally prepare for something that's going to happen, I will absolutely go off the rails. So the only place that this doesn't apply is at work, because if it's surgery, I can deal with it. If there's arterial blood spraying in my face, I'm fine. That's a situation I'm good in. If there's an emergency, I'm good. Great. But I need to know if things are going to happen to people I love so I can prepare.
That's fair.
See, I'm a person who also needs to know things. But the thing is, if I know something bad's going to happen, I think I just have more anxiety. It would do more harm than good.
Same.
You
I'd be
say
crippled by
that,
it.
you say that, but I actually, here's a weird story about me.
Yes.
I don't want to say
Weird
foretold,
story.
but a year before my dad died, before he even got sick, I had this thought one day that came to me. What if he died? What if my dad died? But it wasn't a thought that you just have and it goes away. It stayed with me, and I was more mentally prepared for my father's death than I would have been if that thought or premonition or whatever it was hadn't come to me, because he was like my best friend, and we were very close. So it wasn't quite as traumatic as it might have been if I had never prepared myself by going down. And it was a thought that came to me often throughout that year. And then when he got sick, I was like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I guess that's a thing. And then, yeah, so that's, for me, it gave me less anxiety knowing in some way, shape, or form that was going to happen because I could prepare.
That's valid.
Yeah, I think it would just give me more hopelessness. And I have enough of that right now, so...
It did give me some, of course it gave me some bad emotions, but I am a person that can compartmentalize, so I think I did that. And just was like thinking through logically the logistics of that process. So that's why I need to have tally sight.
Our audience is really getting to know us.
I know. This is not a Motherland discussion. This is an us discussion.
Yeah.
Through Motherland.
It is group therapy.
Welcome to group therapy.
But I think it's important as well for us to talk about these things, and I think it allows people to relate to us more.
Well,
because
also,
it's not superficial. Like, we're really putting ourselves out there.
Also, it goes to show you the power of art and how art is relatable to people and their real lives and how it does influence you and helps people connect with each other, which is really what we're doing here. So thanks, art.
Yeah, I can also go on a tangent about that because the media has the power to shape the world and change how we think and make an impact. And it's a huge power that needs to be taken seriously. And unfortunately, it's not always.
Okay, the mother.
That's another story, another podcast episode.
Mm-hmm.
Can I be there for that one too? Got plenty to say.
Yeah, Ange will be on that episode when we get there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, I'll write it down.
Yeah,
write it down.
Write it down.
And then we're going to bring it back to a little less deep, probably.
How many?
Caitlin will find a way.
I'm sorry.
There's 3.
Pause.
3, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would
you rather be one of Alder's biddies or a session marshal?
Session marshal. Although, I don't want to be a biddy. But I also acknowledge that the session is a largely Indigenous space. And I am not an Indigenous person. I'm not Indigenous in Australia, nor am I Indigenous in the United States or the so-called United States. So it would probably
the divided states of America.
Exactly.
Yes.
I would probably not be appropriate for me to be a marshal. So I would select none.
Also fair.
My answer is your answer, Caitlin.
I mean, I wouldn't want to be a biddy. I understand, you're giving yourself a lot to somebody with that. And
that's either position, though. They're both doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
The marshals are essentially the biddies for, the marshal.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you.
You're in the session, doing session stuff,
yeah.
or you're with Alder in the military.
No.
Man.
I broke the question. Sorry, guys.
You did break the question.
All right, moving on.
Okay. Would you rather eat home?
Wait.
What's the point? What's the point? Just move on.
No, I got it. But I mean, I would love to play Biddy Chess with Taylor being the ref.
Yes, me too.
Okay, continue.
All right. So, would you rather eat home cooking from Millie or Isadora?
Isadora.
That's
Yeah.
everyone's answer.
Yeah. The
Millie will kill
little
you.
cakes thing that Millie brought around, honestly, it looked kind of tasty. But I don't really want to be KO'd by a cake. So I think I'd go with a nice Isadora curry in this situation.
It's basically dried meat and berries together with fat is what Millie had.
Oh, still be good. I'm fine with it,
Yeah,
but I don't really want to be taken out. So
No,
yeah,
I'm with you.
I don't mind jerky. I don't
Give
mind
me a
dried
curry
fruit.
any day.
Exactly.
All right, and the last one is: who would you rather have as your personal bodyguard, Em or Thelma?
M. I know that I would trust M implicitly. The second that we were in the same space, I'd be like, "Yep, cool, I get you. I know that you get me somehow. We got that little trans umbrella bond happening. I got you. So yeah, I think that would be my instinct. But like, Thelma's a badass. Like, she's so cool. So yeah, I think it would also depend on circumstance, right? Because like, M in hand to hand, nothing's gonna beat them. We didn't get to see Thelma doing too much hand to hand stuff. So
Thelma has her own army, her
Yeah.
militia.
True, but you didn't say I'm being protected by the entire militia. You just said Thelma. So
Fair.
Ange is a stick to the rules of would you rather kind of person, and I admire
No,
that.
you just broke the question 2 questions ago.
Never mind.
No,
I
Brie.
take it
No.
back.
Mm-mm.
I take it back. Damn you!
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry.
I didn't get to answer the last 2 questions, so I get to be referee.
Did Brie skip you
Yes, twice.
twice?
We're
Right,
going
man.
back.
I'm answering this one. It's fine. Go, Caitlin. Who is your bodyguard?
Hold on.
More chunky milk.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah,
But
stop drinking that.
I have to stay awake tonight. I have so much work to do.
No, you don't.
Oh my god, I have a whole page that I need to get done this weekend.
I know.
You're like, I know.
I know. I'm not getting stuff done. It's just not happening.
Have we established that Liv and Thelma are pretty much similar?
No, but yes.
Yeah, ish. Yeah, I can see it.
So who's your bodyguard?
I mean, I feel like I would want to talk to Thelma more and just stare at her. So I would choose Thelma.
All right, over to Theora.
Yes. I also pick Thelma. Because she's scrappy. I think M would be super professional all the time, which is great, and would make an excellent bodyguard. But Thelma would also, like, fuck off and, like, leave me alone to do my own shit and not be somebody who hovers all the time. Like, she'd, like, hang out in the vicinity, but wouldn't hover. And I would prefer that, honestly. So I take Thelma.
All right.
Your answer to the other 2 questions.
Other 2 questions. I pick Session Marshal because, again, same reason. He lets them do whatever, and they get more of a range to, like, be in their territory. So that. And then I would pick Millie because I want to know what other recipes she has. Like, yeah, she did devious shit that one time, but they all fell for it because she always makes food for them and they knew how good it was. So Millie's got some recipes.
But think about how good of a baker Isadora probably is because of the science in it.
Yes, but like Millie has homemade recipes that's passed down like orally forever, that there is no written recipe. And honestly, I come from a culture like that and there's no replacing that. Like, you can science all you want, but like the generational recipes that are passed down, you can't beat them. Like they're
You know what?
You know it when it's
I'm
done.
grateful for anything.
I take Millie.
Like I'm used to frozen food, so I'll take anything. How about
I
that?
want Willa's mushroom casserole. That's what I want. I want Willa to burn some mushrooms for me.
Yeah, those establishing shot mushrooms. There's nothing like it.
Hell yeah. Exactly. Delicious.
That's why we keep seeing them. So, Brie, who's your bodyguard?
If Caitlin, can you guess my answer?
Wait, we're on the.
Bodyguard.
Wait, hold on. What question are we on?
Bodyguard.
Which bodyguard?
I just wanted to make sure. Thelma.
Yeah. Just because I want to be around Thelma.
Yeah.
Very valid.
Like, M would be an amazing bodyguard and also amazing to talk to, but Thelma.
I also have to say, Liv does
We're biased.
give me a bias. Yeah, like
We've met the actress.
we're a little biased.
We're biased. You guys also met S, so
Because-
The bicep.
No, S is freaking lovely. I will. They will always have my heart. I've already said this before. If people have gotten that far into episodes, S. I really want to hug them. I
But
really want to hug them so much.
they didn't pull our trauma out of us.
They didn't. We did not share our trauma with them. But no, I did share my trauma of that day with them. Well, you did. Like,
they
Brie,
bonded.
stop it.
I want
Alright.
people to appreciate you.
The mango tasted good.
The mango was good. Taylor shoved it at me. S shoved it at you.
Perfect.
It was the first thing I ate that day.
It was, because I kept trying to get you to eat and you wouldn't.
I had things to do. I was running around the entire hotel.
Yes, but we had portable food. So, anyway, moving on.
Thank you guys for making
me,
it to the
Mother,
end
and
of this
Caitlin.
podcast. And thank you, Ange, for
Uh.
joining us. And this discussion or therapy session or whatever this ended up being. We really appreciate your
Yeah.
presence and insight and your eloquently spoken answers. Thank you again so very much for joining us for this.
Well, thank you for having me. This is an absolute delight. I really would like to do it again. But no, thank you for being so lovely and welcoming and so open and generous. You guys are absolute shining lights for the fandom and for the Motherland community as a whole. So I am very, very grateful to have been included in this lovely little conversation. So thank you.
No, you've got to stop.
No,
Never.
I won't.
All right, guys, that ends session 1. And now we're going to transition into session 2, in which we have one of our favorite people, Lisa Steinberg from Starry Constellation magazine, and Alexa, who is one of the community's illustrious fanfic writers. So, first of all, how did you guys find Motherland Fort Salem? Whoever wants to go first.
Yeah, I feel like we should designate.
For me, I mean, obviously being a journalist, comes with the territory of, having to keep up with the new trends and what's coming out soon and, kind of coverages that we can share. So in a sense, of course, obviously I'm aware in that capacity, but, also being someone who watches various freeform shows as well, for my own enjoyment, not necessarily specifically coverages, but, the commercials, I love everything sci-fi. I love everything witch. I'm a big Buffy aficionado and fan, so I got a lot of good vibes from that aspect that really drew me to the show.
It was January 2020. No.
Yes! That's how you start a story of...
It was January 2020, and one of the trailers randomly came on my Tumblr dashboard. I don't know how or why. Not really sure the origin of that. So I clicked on it because, anybody who knows me even a little bit knows that I'm obsessed with all things witches. I always have been. I'm actually the great granddaughter of someone who got hanged in Salem. So, so I saw the title and I was like, oh, obviously I have to click on this. And they were just giving me everything, man. They were giving me everything that I want from a television show. by the time we saw like that split second of Rael and Scylla kissing, I was like, okay, all right, you've already got me. Like, you got me.
You had me at the beginning, but now you've really got me.
Really got me. Like, I would have watched this anyway, but damn, you really sold it now. That's how you sell a show. That's how you sell a show.
Ladies kissing.
That's how it ended up on your Tumblr dashboard. Let's be real.
That's how. Let's be real.
Mystery solved from January. Yeah, similar-ish origin. I don't know the date because what is time anymore? But basically, I think I said this in an interview that will pend at some point. But like, saw a trailer and was basically like, "Whoa, that's a lot of women." First of all, which you never see. So it was one of the first shows I've seen in a very long time that had a predominantly female cast, and it wasn't just like a bunch of women of all the same age and ethnicity. It was just like a diverse group of women, which I've never seen before. So that spoke to my little like misogynist heart. I was like, yes, okay, this. And then also I think there's like scenes with Sarah Alder, and I'm kind of talking about her a little bit. And so it posed a very interesting question of like, well, okay, let's say witches exist and the Salem witch trials went a completely different way. How would that alter the world as we know it? And so I thought that was a very interesting question to like examine. And it struck me as a very like, I was coming off of the trauma that was Game of Thrones ending horrifically. And I was like, okay, this seems like Game of Thrones, but like they're doing it with women. And it's a very interesting story they're asking, like in modern times. Maybe this will be better. And it was. So that's what drew me in, was just, it seemed like a very interesting question to ask. And like the world building of it right off the bat, even from a trailer, was very striking and novel in my opinion. And so yeah,
that's what got you.
That's what got me. It's all Elliot's brain, man. Just bleeds into the pages.
I was watching a different show and a trailer for that came on before it had even aired. It was before season 1. And like Alexa, I was like, oh, this, okay. It got better and better and better. And I was like, oh, all right, I got to watch this. Period, end of sentence. And that's how it happened. At the time, I was so busy that I couldn't get into the fandom, so I didn't get in there until later, but I watched the show religiously until, well, recently, obviously. But no, this has been my number one show since it began. So that's, and like everything Theora said, it's got so many layers and it's a whole different world. So that's what got it for me. It's just everything. It's like everything. I just want to live in Elliot's brain sometimes.
And I was really done.
There's a lot going on, man. Elliot's brain.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. All right. So the series told the story of a canon queer couple who've gone through a lot of hard times. What do you think the impact of that is on the community as a whole? I know it's a deep-ass question, right?
Well, I personally feel like it's been quite a positive to be able to watch these characters.
I believe
kind of grow from the beginning together. I was saying that it's been such a positive because we've gotten to see these characters really kind of blossom and grow together. We saw the gravitational pull that began in season 1, and then obviously the bumps of the relationship, and a lot of the quite normalcy in a sense, even though they're in such a microscope and lens and battle and all that. The gravitational pull that just kind of continued to really bring these two together. And I know we talk about the relationship of them being kind of symbiotic, but it really, really does focus so well and importantly, obviously, to watch a positive LGBT relationship come full circle We got to see a wedding on TV. We got to see them both live at the end of the end of the series. Um, that's obviously quite a rarity to watch, especially these days. A true happy ending, and in whatever sense we want them to have too. So, with that being everything being open ended, but they are wives. So, to have that kind of queer canon relationship and have that be something as a positive outlier is really an important legacy, an important beacon to the community to me.
Completely agree.
Yeah, I think you put that perfectly. I think the media landscape these days is quite often not kind. A few years ago, everyone was burying their gays, and now they're canceling them. So it's it's a bleak landscape out there, and I know, just speaking to my experience, I started getting into this at the very beginning of the quarantine period of the pandemic, and I was living in a situation at the time where I really couldn't be openly queer, and I didn't have any kind of a community around me. And I have heard similar stories from other people who are fans of this show, that it was just such a lifeline, not even necessarily because of, the pandemic of it all, but just because, especially when you're young, it can be really, really isolating to realize that you're different. And I think being able to see yourself reflected at that level, and to, be able to find a community of other like-minded people is just, you can't downplay how important that is. It's huge.
Heck yeah. Because I don't know. It's been like that was a huge thing for me back when. This reminds me of the whole journey I had with, because I didn't come out till I was 18, and I grew up in a place at the time that was very not a place you come out. Because like even I remember my high school softball coach. She said, if there are any lesbians on this team, I will kick them off.
Jesus Christ.
So it hit home to me why my friend, who was openly queer, never made the team, even though she was better than a lot of the girls that did. And so that left me in a really weird position, mentally coming out in that area. And then I got Buffy, and that was like the first time we saw, and I had seen a real queer relationship on television in a primetime slot. And it was just like, oh, okay, cool. And then they had to go and ruin it. So that heartbreak, and then fast forward, and I was so into the Clexa relationship, and then that heartbreak. Don't even get me started. I didn't go to work the next day. And then I see Motherland, and it's treated so differently that it blows my mind that more people can't get this in the industry. Like, they don't. What does Elliot have in his brain that these other people don't, understanding wise? It's like, come the hell on. But
well, he's also, part of the community too, so
he is.
So that's a big, obviously, factor besides things in his mind, but that's an important part to have in his mind too.
Absolutely. So I think it being told by someone from the community who has seen everything go down with other shows helped a lot, but also the dedication that Amalia and Taylor put into their roles and into their relationship was unprecedented and amazing to watch, because they really got it right. I've never seen a queer couple on television that I believed were in love with each other more than these two. So we have to thank them. We have to thank Elliot. And we also kind of have to thank the timing, because I think it was a good timing for this to happen. So that's basically, the impact is insane, because we've seen, just from our poll results, we saw so many answers we didn't get to read out, where people were like, this show kept me alive. This is the only reason I'm alive, was this representation. So the next time somebody doesn't understand how important representation in media is, I just want to like shove all of those answers in their face and be like, here, people have committed suicide because people have unalived themselves or gone to really dark places they didn't have to go because they didn't see themselves anywhere in the world and they were facing oppression because of who they were. So that's why it's important. Period. End of sentence. Theora.
You want me to follow that up? Damn it, Brie.
I'm sorry.
Poured your heart out. And my little cold lesbian heart can't follow that up. But
you have no feelings after killing Eve.
I have no feelings. No,
Lauren Neal ruined you.
My pinnacle for representation was killing Eve. But for Motherland, one of the things I appreciate in media, like killing Eve, I won't get on that tangent, but things that I love in media, and something that struck me very much about this show in terms of its impact was that not only, I agree with Lisa, like I think a large part of it was who wrote it and the background of that person. And the fact that this person very cognizantly created a world where sexuality didn't even exist. It was just like, it is what it is. So for me personally, like growing up as a little baby gay, all the content we got, even in the Buffy world, was just like coming out stuff. It was just constantly, it's always coming out stuff. Here, that is stripped from the equation, and it's just like, it is what it is. Like, it's normal. It's just part of what it is. So the impact, I think, from this show and shows like it, like Killing Eve, First Kill, things like that, is that it's just normal. It just is what it is. You have the main couple of the show is a queer couple, and their plot line has nothing to do with that. Like, we're finally getting to a point where the narratives are not about them coming out, them being gay and fighting oppression. They're fighting oppression because they're witches. Like, it has nothing to do with the story. And to me, it's like, finally, we've gotten to a place where like queer people can just exist in fictional worlds, and their plot has like literally nothing to do with that. So I think that impact is the biggest thing for me. It's normalized, and it just is. Like, Rael and Scylla, like if you had to describe them, if you had to describe their plot, their journey, them being queer has nothing to do with, like, it wouldn't even be in the descriptor. It's just like Scylla was a necro and had a really hard life as a Dodger, and like Rael's mother has just mommy issues and like all this stuff. But like, them being queer has nothing to do with it. And to me, that's the most beautiful thing. It's just Elliot normalized it. He's just like, no, that's not even part of this equation. It just is what it is. And I'm so grateful we're at a place where like those stories are being told, personally.
Absolutely. See, you did get the part with the sexuality, so I left you a good piece.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you.
So, here's a question that's a bit loaded. What would you change about the show? Yeah, me too.
Okay, all right.
He has a lot to say.
Let him speak.
You're in this, bro.
Speak on it, sir.
He's like, I have opinions.
I mean, I would focus a lot more and lean into a lot of the aspects that they kind of played up into that we didn't really get to see, with like more of Scylla either, using all these things, her necro work. We got told that she's got all these extra skills that she's learned as a Dodger, and we never got to see her battle any Camarilla people, really. They gave her fatigues and the Scourge. She didn't do anything except for hold Rael the whole time, and we never got to see any linking. We got to see her use the seed, of course, to help to connect with Rael as far as that aspect. But I would have liked them to watch their work together. We talk about them being life and death and bringing them together, and the power that could have, and they were the Rael and Scylla and all of the signifiers that they've kind of breadcrumbed the entire 3 seasons that we get nothing of. And that aspect, I would have loved to see more of them actually getting to work together, getting to see Scylla doing some battle. We got to see her kind of fighting off Nycta for a few minutes, but like that's as much as we really got to see in her channeling her anger in that regard. So that's specifically one thing that I would have loved more, is that they gave all these little crumbs that we love about Scylla, but it ends up just being like off screen stuff that we know about her and nothing that we actually get to fulfill and see.
Yeah, absolutely. That was frustrating. But continue on,
Well
Alexa.
said. Well said.
I agree with everything Lisa just said. She really didn't do anything in those fatigues except look damn good in them.
Absolutely.
I guess it's kind of an obvious thing to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. If I could change anything about the show, just like more episodes per season, more time per season, I think the root of all of the issues that I have with it is just that, Elliot and his big brain are trying to pack so much into such a limited time frame, I guess. Yeah, time frame is the word. He's trying to pack so much into a limited time frame, and the things that are underdeveloped, you can tell that they got good bones. They just don't have the time to build any further outward from that. So that was what was kind of frustrating. I get to an extent that they can only do so much within the time that they're given. I would just like it if they were given more time.
Absolutely. You want to go, Theora?
Oh, I'm going first.
You can,
Literally
yes.
all of what you guys just said. I would like to add more of Thelma Beer Killer, please. I would change that. More of the session period and the matrifocal compound would have been cool. But my biggest so besides the Scylla stuff, my biggest gripe is what they did with Abigail in season 3. Like, the biggest thing I would change is Abigail. Like, I do not hate Abigail. I need to keep saying this. I don't hate her. I'm upset with what they did with her character development in season 3, because Abigail from like season 1 to season 2 had some of the best character arc I've literally ever seen, of somebody who just like has no idea what the real world is really like. She's very sheltered, posh girl, has an idea of what the world's supposed to be through this army lens, and then gets into the world and realizes, oh, there's more to life than all of this. Like, Charvel dies, she gets her unit, she learns what it's like to love and like what it means to be a daughter and not a subordinate to her mother, and she has this amazing character growth. Then we get in season 3 and like Abigail goes all the way back to square one, and I don't understand why that choice was made. And it made Abigail so unlikable the whole season, not just like from an audience perspective, but from her unit. Like, she dismissed Tally the whole time. Adil we kept calling him a doormat on the podcast, because like she just like orders him around, and like he's not even they're not like partners in their relationship. She's just ordering him around most of the time, and it's just like, why did we do that with Abigail? Like, Abigail's a main character, like the big unit member, the big leader, and like I don't get why we regressed her in the last. We knew it was going to be the final season, and we regressed Abigail. I don't get that. I really think that was a mistake, and they should have like kept going where they left off in season 2 with Abigail. That to me is the big thing I would change. I don't get it.
If I can piggyback a little bit just to say this, the same thing. I totally agree in that sense, especially because she kept saying all this stuff about like the spree and the work being dirty, and she called it bizarre necro ceremony that they would have done for the wedding. Like, everything was a dig again.
Yeah.
And it made no sense if you want her to be part of the core 4 and you're one of us. But she kept saying all these things that, I mean, even if she were addressing them to Nycta specifically, and certain things were addressed to Nycta, but Scylla is part of the spree. She has always been part of their spree in her past, and those comments reflect on her as much as if it was directed at Nycta or not. So to me, all these little, even the things that she said, or like the little comments, the way Scylla's face when she called it a bizarre necro ceremony too.
I know. Like, she's right there.
Why are we in one?
Yeah, I don't understand why we had season 1 Abigail and season 3.
Yeah, she tends to talk about Scylla like Scylla's not there a lot in season 3, and she just dismisses everyone basically. She has a few shining moments, and that's about it. I was really frustrated, as we talked a lot about this on the podcast, how we hated her character development in season 3, or lack thereof. And it was only really in the last episode that it was like season 2 Abigail again. And you were like, where was this earlier in the season? I need to know. Asking for a friend and myself, because it's awful. They kind of murdered her character in season 3, and I hate it, because I really do love her. It was rough at the beginning, as Ashley will attest to. But by the end of season 2, I was like, yes, we're going in an amazing direction with her. And then it was just all for naught. And every time she made a dig at Scylla, I was just a dig at the spree / Scylla / Nikta. I was just like, really? And also don't understand why Raelle was like all gung-ho about this in episode 1 either. She was going along with Abigail, and I don't understand it. It's like, your girlfriend is right there. Hi.
Dumb. I don't get that.
Anyway, that pissed me off. But my big thing is, this needed to be on a different network or streaming service.
Mm.
This show deserved to have far more episodes in a season, and a lot more just exploration of that world because of it. So it's like everyone's complaint. But I want it on a different network. So it's not within Freeform's constraints because every time we had a Raelle and Scylla scene, the most explicit one was in episode 1, really, if you want to get technical, because you see Raelle with her hand down Scylla's pants. They're still fully clothed, but I had to witness Garrett and Tally fully nude up against a tree. Hi, there's something not there. The scenes were not equal. So that was the other, it needed to be on a different network for that purpose too, because I don't feel like they treated the queer couple in the same way that they treated the straight couples. And I mean, we got to see Abigail have a full-on effing threesome and shit with dudes, pretty much. Witchfather and Alder? What do we... And then in the lighthouse scene, Scylla's wearing a tank top. It makes no sense. So that's my big complaint about it's timing, and also let's treat the queer couple the same as we're treating the straight couples as far as what kind of content we're showing. The gays aren't scary. Come the fuck on. We're pretty normal. Oh yeah, well,
I'm a little scared.
As you be scared. She's the ancestress of a witch.
It's true.
She'll hex you. All right, I'm gonna get off my soapbox a little bit and go on to the next one. This is kind of we asked this in the poll, but we didn't get to hear. We only got to hear the people that wrote into us as the answers. So Lisa didn't get to answer this, and I know Alexa did. I think
I don't think so.
You didn't answer this one? Okay.
No.
So, what does Motherland mean to you?
It's the most. I talked about it a little bit in the Zoom, but it's more than a series. I call it a fan-mully, and more than a community. I call it the fan-mully, because of the incredible, extensive community that's kind of formed as a result of this series. It's become it's just become like our own lighthouse in a sense. I feel like that's what a signifier is to the entire community of switches. Um, to me, it's a beautiful world that we can look to. It's got inclusivity, diversity. We have a female president who's POC and played by the damn amazing Cheryl Lee Ralph. We have to give props to. Um, it's so expansive, and the way that again attributing to Elliot's big brain and beautiful brain that we get to witness and kind of be a part of this world in a sense, in a way, and the themes that of love, hope, faith, all these things that we can also take into our reality, and as a call to action as well. There's so many things that reflect our society and our political landscapes that are ways that we can work on ourselves at the same time too. So to me, it's a lot of heart, it's a lot of hope. There's the safe harbor, and most importantly, a community as well.
Amazing. Yes, it is absolutely. And I love the lighthouse, what you said about the lighthouse, because it's definitely been that for me. So
Yeah, I really liked that as a metaphor too, because I was talking about this with my friend the other day, actually. Um, just again, speaking to my personal experience, it's been a tumultuous couple of years, and this has really been my safe harbor, to borrow your word for it, through it all. I mean, it's given me so much. It's like a community. It made me want to write again. I don't know if I mentioned this already, but I have a bachelor's degree in creative writing. I always thought I would be a writer, and then I had a huge crisis of confidence. Didn't like so much as look at a Word document for years. And then this show comes into my life, and it's a pandemic, so I'm not working. And I one night I was just like, I could write something. I've never done this fan fiction thing before, but like literally what else am I doing? And just the kindness from other people in this community gave me back my confidence in a big way. Like I'll never be able to put words to it. It's everything. It's everything.
that's a really common answer among our poll folks was it's everything. They always included that in their answer, and it's true. I mean, it's had an impact on a lot of people, like Theora.
Like me. I mean, to me, Motherland is how I met Bree and Caitlin. So Motherland is family, as Caitlin so eloquently said today, made us all almost cry. So to me, it was you guys and creating this kind of project that was a brainchild. So it was inspiration for me and Bree to create something out of it or offshoot this project, to talk about it, to get people involved with it, to hopefully get people who weren't involved to like recognize it and see it for what it was. And to me, before even all of that, which really to me that was a takeaway, like you guys. But for me, Motherland was just it was showcasing women. That's what it was to me, because you never get to see that for me. Like I grew up like, obviously a little baby gay, didn't know anything. And so the things that I would gravitate towards were so like male centric, like sports and I don't know, whatever media was out there, like was always like male centric. And so to me, to have a show that literally flips all of that on its head, and it's like, look, this is what things could look like if matriarchies were a thing. This is a show that's like, we don't just have women of one age range and one ethnicity, we have all of them. Like for me, the biggest thing from Motherland that really drew me there was the biddies, because you finally had women in a certain age bracket that you like never see on television ever, and they're depicted as these like badass heroes, and it's like, when do you see that ever? Like, name something where you see that. I can't. So to me, it was just female empowerment. That's what it meant to me, and it still does. And it's so beautiful. And like even the men in the society, not the Camarilla people, but like the men in the witch society are just, they're good people. And it's so refreshing to see that and not have to like have a piece of media where it's just like misogyny constantly and just like women whose plot lines are about men. It's like, no, it's like, this is women existing. And it's just, that was so beautiful to me. And I think that's the representation we need as we in America are falling into dark times potentially. So thank you, Motherland, for depicting a better what if than what reality often actually is. So to me, it was escapism to a better place.
I love that last line. Escapism to a better place. That is what it was for me. Even though there was so much trauma in the show, it was a better place for me and for a lot of us because of representation, because of the women, because of everything we don't see in our own lives, but it also paralleled the awful things that were happening in our real world. And that was huge because you can escape, but there's also the drama. And it also kind of helped you realize some things about the real world, even. I don't know, it made me think more about the things that were happening outside of it, outside of the show. And I just think that was the genius of Elliot. And it's been a huge part of my life for all these years. It seems like longer in some ways, and it seems shorter in other ways. And yes, I don't know if we've talked about it much, but Theora and I met on Tumblr. And the reason we met was because I put a post on there saying, I would like to start a Motherland podcast or something to that effect. And then Theora replied, and that's how we met. It's crazy, right? And then I was like, this girl's super cool. I really actually think we could like build something together. And then we had like a chemistry test like you would for a role. And it was great. We were fine. We like spoke easily together. It was perfect. And so we went on our way and started making the podcast. And then this past year did a little convention that shall not be named. And you can't see Caitlin.
Yeah, you can't see Caitlin.
But that's how I met Caitlin, was working on this convention. And she and Theora are my family now, and we became fast best friends. And she's amazing, and I love her. I don't like let people in that easily. And Caitlin is one of those people that just no matter what barriers Nikta would hug her.
Literally.
I'm like, yes. not her having to hug. Nikta would hug her.
Yes.
That's Caitlin in a nutshell.
Caitlin. Oh my God, that's such a perfect analogy. Yes, Caitlin, you would get a Nikta hug organically. You're so lovable. It's ridiculous.
She's stupidly lovable. She's like the Our Lives version of Tally.
Yes,
so
she's our Tally.
She is our Tally. We're gonna make her cry.
Stop crying. Accept our compliment and love.
She's laughing, I think, is what she's doing.
She's like, I hate you guys. That's on brand.
So yeah, Motherland means there's so many layers to that question for me, and the biggest one, like we said, is family and escape. And also, I've never been into a ship the way I have been into Scylla and Raelle, because they hit every mark for me. And even though, because in the beginning it wasn't easy, it's never been easy for them, but it was so like toxic, and there were lies and betrayal. But at the same time, they were so human, and that's what made them such wonderful characters and layered. And yes, I do think Scylla got shafted in the end, but not by Raelle. By not having enough time to explore her character. But yeah, so it means way too many things to put into words. So that's my answer, and now I'm gonna cry because reasons. So that kind of wraps up our questions about the show section. And I'm going to, as Theora would say, shoot on over to the Would You Rathers. This is going to be fun. So I'll ask it, and Lisa, you can answer first, and then Alexa. All right. Would you rather get smashed by a truck or windstruck by Albin?
I'm gonna say windstruck. I don't really want to be crushed by a truck. If it's Albin, it's gonna have some flair to it. So I guess at least there's that aspect in a sense.
That's such a good point.
Not that it wouldn't hurt, but just that it'll be panache. We know it's panache.
You're gonna get a dramatic monologue before you get windstruck.
Exactly.
I was going to say windstruck, but then you said dramatic monologue. I was like, oh, what would be more painful, listening to that guy monologue or literally getting hit by a truck?
Mm-hmm.
Decisions. No, I say windstruck too, because, I don't know, I feel like he's a weak little baby. How much would that actually hurt?
I know, right? Yeah. So, next. Would you rather be on a road trip where Rael is driving or Nikta?
I say Nikta because we're gonna stop at all the fun places. Like we're gonna stop for the knickknacks. We're gonna stop for the giant, largest spool of thread in the world, or whatever back road Nikta thinks is a good idea, what probably is a terrible idea, and you get stranded in the woods. But damn, it's fun and it's an adventure anyway.
I'm going to say the opposite because I feel like she's not a bad driver, but one of those people that just like drives faster and more recklessly than they need to. Like she drives like a maniac a little bit. That's just the vibe that I'm getting. I don't think that'd be much fun.
Alrighty then. Would you rather go through basic with Anacostia or learn off-canon work from Major Verger?
I'm going off canon work. Something skillful that can come in handy at some other time over crawling in dirt and getting myself all gross and working on my stamina, I guess. I'd rather have skills and stamina, I suppose.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I know my limits athletically. I'm not going through basic. Plus, off canon would be so cool. You get like the badass old lady teaching you weird shit. That's
amazing.
That's amazing. I'm down for that.
I hope the both of you have good health insurance for the therapy bills that Major Verger is going to cause for you.
Same.
It's like, why am I waking up in a dumpster? What day is it?
Why am I missing a kidney?
Sounds like Saturday.
I did what last night?
All right. Exactly. So along the same kind of, we're going to stay a little bit in the Major Verger territory. Would you rather spend a day in the dollhouse or spend a day locked in the high security cell with President Silver?
Oh, God.
24 hours. Choose wisely.
I'm going to go with Silver because I don't want to look at dolls all day or have them with paranoia. Maybe at least for Silver, I can like plug my ears or close my eyes and
or beat the shit out of him.
More appropriately, work on my other form of.
Your off-canon work.
Yeah, you learned off-canon work with Verger.
Exactly.
I'm picking the dollhouse. I do not have a phobia of dolls. But men like Silver, just like talking, I have to deal with that enough in my everyday life. And one of us is not leaving that cell alive. And see my previous comment about my lack of athletic inclinations. I feel like it'd be me. So.
Great.
I don't know. I think you could take him. He's such a little...
He's a pussy-ass bitch.
There you go. What she said. And, you know... So would you rather have Tally's sight, Rael's fixer magic, or Abigail's weather work?
I'm saying Rael's fixer because healing has a lot of different capacities to it. So I would, like to take care of people I care about, take care of myself, if anything. Um, just being like the nurturing sense. It's hard to think that I would want to know something in advance, having sight. Obviously, that's helpful in the sense that you could stop yourself from something transpiring that you wouldn't have to heal yourself for. But I feel like having the ability to actually care for someone and heal in whatever sense would have a broader effect, and a more caring, nurturing, broader effect.
Very practical.
And I want the weather work because I want to see stuff blow up.
Yes. Two sides of the spectrum here.
Somebody finally said weather work.
That would be so cool. Making the tornadoes and
like the one in the last episode.
Yes. I feel like that would go to my head, though. I feel like I'd be like standing on a cliff because that's dramatic, just cackling while tornadoes spinning out.
While you're wearing a cape, because of course, and it's like billowing, and you're like,
use such a dramatic
laugh.
Gay.
That'd be great. Yeah, I mean, duh. That's the gayest thing you could do if you knew weather work. Stand on a cliff that's hundreds of miles in the air with a cape. With your own wind. Like, you do that Celine Dion challenge that was on TikTok a while ago. You just like have the wind. It'd be great. Yeah. So many uses.
Wonderful. So many. All right. Would you rather be one of Alder's biddies or a session marshal?
I'm going to go with the session marshal. As much as I enjoy thinking about being around Alder so much all the time, I don't know if I could be in her thoughts all that long and not be affected in a way.
I'm going with Marshall too. I feel like he's got more flair with his whole thing where they're all like walking in unison and it's all creepy. Like that's the kind of drama that I would like to participate in.
The creep factor got you.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Wonderful.
It's the aesthetic all the time.
It's true. They get to be outside the woods. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I want to walk through the woods.
Yeah. Just whistling. You know.
I think you guys are making excellent choice on that one. Would you rather eat home cooking from Millie or Isadora?
I'm going to say Isadora because she has to be a culinary guru. I would feel like if she made this curry, then it's going to be the most delicious curry in the whole world because a woman knows her science. And that's what cooking really is. A lot of this, a lot of that, but you have to know your measurements and what goes well pairing wise. And I feel like she needs her own Food Network series at some point, probably.
Late night 30-minute meals with Isadora.
Yeah, I like what you said about the cooking is science. I'm going to go with Isadora too, as long as she doesn't put mushrooms in it. Absolutely despise mushrooms.
Blasphemy.
I know.
Get off this podcast. How dare you say Isadora and I hate mushrooms in the same sentence? Get out of here. No more talking for you.
For this, and now to ruin everything.
I don't know.
You might have well slipped
in your cape.
What is it with mushrooms and cooking though? Like, okay, we had Willow with the mushrooms and cooking. We have Isadora with her mushrooms being necro cooking. But also we have Yellow Jackets, that series with mushrooms and cooking. It's like women and mushrooms and cooking. Something, there's like a key happening here, like a 3 or something.
If we figure that out, we figure out the key to world peace.
Wait, I just realized, and I didn't say this on the podcast, we said in earlier episodes, like, we talked about they do this weird thing where they keep doing establishing shots where it's just somebody burning mushrooms in a pan, and it was never, and we're just like, oh, they'll never explain this to us, and they never did. So thank you, Elliot, for never explaining that, because it's just this hilarious thing that keeps fucking happening as a transition scene. Thank you. We didn't need an explanation. It's just...
We have got...
It is what it is. It is what it is. I love
We've
it.
got to talk to Diana about that.
I like that
Absolutely.
it has no meaning. It's just funny.
She laughed at me when I
It's
asked
so
her.
good.
I'm like, "You got a mushroom recipe that I can have?" And she just laughed. So
Yeah. All right. Last would you rather? Who would you rather have as your personal bodyguard, Em or Thelma? It's a hard one.
I'm going to say, I mean, I'm deeply enamored with Thelma, but I'm going to say M, because I got this bodyguard situation, like the movie Bodyguards.
Yeah.
Like M can lift you, M can carry you out of any dramatic or dire situation. Like, they're Pinky, probably. That's why, like, I feel like there needed to be like a bodyguard moment, more of a bodyguard moment, in the sense of the Kevin Costner Whitney Houston bodyguard scene, like that, where M is in the suit and they just whisk Tally or anyone away. I feel like M, they have their wits, they have obviously the prowess, but the debonair as well, I would say.
Ooh, good word, yes. M's professional, you know.
Absolutely. I like it.
I want Thelma.
Ooh.
I mean, me too, but in
Wow.
general.
I opened the door for that one. I want Thelma because I feel like she's a brawler. I feel like she's scrappy. I feel like she's like street smart. Yeah. I don't know. I like her vibes.
I could see that
All the
very
vibes.
much so. All the vibes, please.
Thelma. Moment of silence for Thelma.
Moment of silence for that
Hydrate
hotness.
for lesbian Jesus for Thelma, everyone, if you can hydrate.
I don't.
Thanks, Thelma.
Also, we love
hydrate
you,
for
Liv.
M also, because like M is, I mean, debonair.
Oh
Debonair.
my god, it
Debonair.
was amazing.
M in a suit? Come on now.
M in anything, really.
Just M. Capital
Just M.
M. ILFs. There you go. That was our tagline this season. M. ILFs.
Capital M.
Capital
How
M.
Bond is that though? Too, like, how Bond are they as well? Like, I think well for the next one, if we're talking bodyguard, but talking transitioning to like a James Bond, would be like M.
Yes. I mean, M can already infiltrate weird government buildings and go through air ducts and still look fly as fuck. So, I mean, what more do you want from a secret agent / bodyguard? And M won't leave you. Like, M never left Wade. M is dedicated.
Absolutely.
But,
well,
but
that's
Thelma
the
will
end
kill
of
for you,
our.
so.
It's
Yeah,
true.
100%. It's Thelma. She'll show up when you open doors and be like, yeah, bitch, I'm right here.
Precisely. So that's the end of our questions, and I just want to thank you guys loads and loads and loads for coming on and talking to us and for your answers. They were amazing, and we love you both.
Well, that concludes our discussion panel. I hope you guys enjoyed our chat with our friends. I know we did, as we reminisced on everything Motherland. As this discussion comes to a close, so does our very last episode as Big Witch Energy. It has been an honor and a pleasure to be on this journey and getting so in depth and talking about the nuances, the fun, and the feels of Motherland Fort Salem. But fear not. Bree, Caitlin, and I are going nowhere. We are transforming into a new podcast called Big Gay Energy, where we will be broadening our horizon for queer media beyond Motherland into other realms. So we will have plenty of content coming to you in the near future. So thanks again for sticking with us. We really appreciate all of your support throughout this year that we've been doing this. And we hope you will come on our next journey with us as well. And with that, we've been Big Witch Energy. If you like this episode, check out all of our other episodes right here on YouTube. Please like, comment below, and subscribe for more amazing content. Hydrate for lesbian Jesus.